Got some.
I think your sound is peaking a bit when you're talking.
Okay. Let me fix.
Lower the level on your mic because you're loud and clear, but you tend to peak sometimes apparently.
Okay, is that a bit better?
It's a bit better.
Okay, if it's still too loud, just give me one more second. Interesting, the microphone settings seem different every single time. Come on. Let's see if I can set that. It might actually, is it a bit better now?
Yeah.
It's still very, very loud.
No, it's very
okay, cool. Yeah, so what will happen is that's, I think, part of the machine learning bit that kicks in from the NVIDIA side where it figures out background noise, relative noise levels, etc. I did lower the gain on the back a little bit. I must just remember to change that back because I'm trying to get to a point where my setup stays the same and it's fixed with software, because I found that changing the buttons all the time is not a great idea.
Okay.
So let's have a look. We have got one viewer. That's probably you.
That's probably me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's audience of one.
Audience of one.
So how have you been?
I've been good. I actually spent the weekend doing some CDK. That was my fun time this weekend. And I played around with, this is something I want to talk to you about, the fangled new CDK Terraform thingy. It's interesting, I must say. It's I actually prepared a small example for us to get started, just to kind of show it to you if you have not had a chance to see it.
I have not. I have kids.
Yes, right. That's the thing. So, so let me try to share this thing. Can I?
It's while we're waiting for that. I'm actually. It's one of the things when I grew up. My parents always on the weekends, especially in the teenage years, you obviously want to sleep late and do your own thing and all that. I now having kids, I really don't understand why they would come bug me and say you need to get out more, you need to go do stuff. I mean, if I had free time where the kids were entertaining themselves, I would love it.
Exactly. Because
I mean, for context, for those of you that don't know, so I've got a 7-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. So it means that the one, she's not yet crawling, which is good because it means that at least she stays where you put her down and you can sit next to her and play with her. But the other one is running around all over the show, which means that weekends, when it's me and my wife, and we've got 2 kids, it's like there's nothing else. It's that and hopefully some sleep. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of fun though. We're building puzzles at the moment.
That's fun, I guess. So, which is the one? This is the one.
Oh, awesome.
That's horrible. Wait.
Oh, let's fix it. Also, while you wait to fix that, Darko, for some reason, our Winter is very confused. I'm running around in t-shirts and a short again because, literally, it's we're going up to the 20s again at the moment. We had a nice barbecue yesterday.
That's not a winter, Cobus.
Well, I mean, remember this is the joy of living here, is that we don't really get winter.
That's true. Well, yeah. So we had at least in Germany, we have a very warm, very non-warm summer. I mean, today it's the 20th of July, and it's 25 degrees Celsius. Yesterday we had close to 30, but it was, I think it was the hottest day of the year. So far, at least as long as I was here. So it's not the same year as last year. Last year we had like 42 at one point, which was ridiculous. So, not the funnest of things. I just want to do one more thing. I'm trying to rehost your channel on my Twitch thingy, and I set it up to automatically rehost it.
I found that setting is somewhere in the. There is automatic rehost, but you also have to explicitly set. Go into your chat.
Okay.
/host space Cobus Bernard. So even with, I had the same thing last time when we rehosted you on my channel, where even with automatic, it just says, Cobus says you should do that. I see Ferdinand Steenkamp is online. Yes, we had winter last week. There was storms, there was wind, there was all that. But it's very hard to reconcile that idea of winter with sitting outside sweating. I was actually like looking for shade yesterday. It was so hot when I was having the braai or barbecue.
Okay, I'm hosting it now. Cool.
Hey, Crayfivio?
Crasio? I would read that.
Crasio.
Crasio.
Oh, okay.
Now, one of the things you see here, you see some CDK code
Yes.
that
Terraform
does
stack.
Terraform stack. It's interesting. So, and here's the thing. People ask me when I was talking about this, I think last time on stream or something like that, I mentioned this, and I have not had a look into it, to be honest. And people ask me like, oh, so does this mean we can use basically the same code for AWS and for CDK that will do Terraform and CloudFormation? No, it's not. This is not the same code that's used for. It looks similar, like a lot of things we see here. For example, we see these things. These are very similar to like doing it on CDK or even this thing, but the way you do resources is very different. So, and actually, all of these things are actually defined within the Terraform AWS provider or something like that. So, if you look on the side here, all of these are very specific to Terraform. For example, when you create an instance, or even when you create a VPC. So, in CDK for CloudFormation, you create a VPC like this. You do const VPC equals new EC2 VPC, and then this, and then VPC my VPC, and basically this. This will create a VPC for what is it? The CloudFormation CDK. But here's an example of how you do it on Terraform. It's a bit different, right? So it's very similar, but I believe some of these values are required. Now I'm not sure about that. Because CloudFormation CDK actually makes some assumptions for you. Basically, it does all these CIDRs, does which AZs you're gonna use, all this stuff. Now, I may be wrong, and you can also do it this way. So maybe I can do it.
So to be honest, that bottom bit that you pasted in there actually looks very much like the input parameters to the module to create a VPC. Because typically, remember with Terraform, it itself doesn't have any high-level abstractions for things like, for example, it has got a VPC resource, but that's literally just the VPC. No subnet, no root table, no internet or NAT gateway, etc. Because those are the raw building blocks that you use in terms of the resources inside AWS. Whereas there is a VPC module where you have got the idea of, because you're asking for subnets or which availability zones to use. That immediately tells me that I think that construct that you had over there for Terraform was using the Terraform VPC module.
Yeah, so it actually is. So if you find it here on the left-hand side, it is here. So these are the things that it kind of, here are all the interfaces it has.
Okay,
basically exposed to these things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure which of them are required because you see an optional, so attribute ARN, optional true. Actually, most of them might be optional. So it might be actually
I think it's very few.
similar. Yeah, very few.
You probably just have to do that.
Yeah, the difference here I see is just the way you import them. Because you import them, instead of importing them from a node module, you're importing them directly from the provider here. But that might change because this is an alpha. So
yeah. So on that, here's a fun one for you. So you do know that you can use CDK to generate Terraform for non-AWS providers.
Correct. So
yes.
there's an example here. You can do Azure and Google and Docker and pretty cool. Yeah.
Kubernetes I mean, cool. I must say that feature excites me because, for example, I'm not a big fan of using these YAML files. And yes, I know Kubernetes is basically just YAML to containers. But that YAML file where you go, listen, here's a YAML file, go apply it. And it's the equivalent of piping bash scripts from the internet onto your host. It's
correct.
Because it doesn't keep... Because if you want to rename a service, for example, you go into the YAML file, you rename it, it doesn't keep state of, oh, that was the old service, this is a new one. It'll just spin up a new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this. I like this because I think there's a really nice feature in CDK like this. as CDK gives us this ability to use a generic programming language. Now, TypeScript is the default people go to because I don't know why. I mean, to be honest, I've never used TypeScript before CDK came to be. But I've kept using it right now, and I've gotten relatively versed in it. Yeah, it's cool, and because you can actually use generic programming languages and features and abilities, much more. I'm not sure how extensive that was in CDK. How could you do looping and logic? Not CDK, sorry, Terraform. How much you can do looping and logic and those things. But I think this is very cool. I think this is a really neat thing, and giving you the ability to expand. Even so, here's the thing. You can absolutely do, well, at least I believe in the fullness of time, in the future, you will be absolutely able to do, import EC, well, like this. And then, as EC2, and then from at AWS CDK, AWS EC2. I'm sure you will be able to do this as well. So basically in the same TypeScript file, you would be able to provision both CloudFormation stuff and Terraform stuff. Now, why would you do that? I don't see a reason, unless you're doing it multi-cloud. If you're gonna deploy it to Azure and Google or something, then you wish to use Terraform. Fine, but doing it in a mishmash of CloudFormation and CDK, it's just a waste of.
It's the classic. Just because you can do it, doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
I think it's going to become very unfriendly very, very quickly if you do that.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So in general, this works. I've actually played with this. So if you have a look, that's not clear. That's clear. CDK.
Question on that quickly. Do you know about Control L, or is it just muscle memory that you type clear?
It's muscle memory. So.
No, it's one of those curious things. I've never asked anybody. I grew up with Control L, which is.
So I grew up with CLS. I grew up with CLS because Windows.
Hey, would that be the right arm or the left arm?
Ooh, left.
No, you just have no, as in show the arm, because you've got Windows and Linux on the different arms.
It's the left one. Left. So CLS is left. Yeah, and I got so used to CLS, and then somebody told me, "Oh, on Linux it's clear," and I was like, "Okay, clear." But you can also Control L. Okay, clear. And then I just got so used to typing clear, and I've hit clear so many times, and I always mess it up. But I'm just kind of used to doing clear with it before doing anything else. But yeah. So now if I do CDK something, this one, df deploy, it's basically going to synthesize a Terraform thingy here, and we can see there's going to be out somewhere.
So quickly on the synthesizing, so what the CDK as a starting point actually does is it takes whatever language you define your resources in. So let's say it's non-TypeScript, then transpiles it into TypeScript, and then from TypeScript transpiles it into the destination, which initially was just CloudFormation files. But now they've actually made that so that it now can take that and transpiles it into Terraform.tf files as well. Yes. So this is now where that magic comes in. Well, there's even a project that does.
I'm not sure if does it even do it into TF files. I believe it actually just creates a plan. It creates a Terraform out. And that's
that would be interesting.
Yeah. So I don't. I have not seen TFs anywhere, so you will see that there's no TF files. It creates a local state file, but it doesn't create .tfs. It basically, well, at least not that I have found. So I get a plan file, and that's about it. So it's very interesting, but it works apparently.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it uses Terraform. Again, it uses Terraform in the back end. It basically, now it executes Terraform to do this. So,
yeah, no, that's actually, I need to play with this more because so just for background, so I joined AWS almost a year and a half ago, more than a year and a half ago, last year, January. And before that, I was actually a customer and I used Terraform since version 0.6. So a good 3, 4, 5 years. So that's just my background. I preferred at that point to CloudFormation. And now, obviously, I'm playing with everything on, and this is awesome because I really like Terraform, and I think it solves specific problems for people with specific needs, slightly differently to CloudFormation and even the CDK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why, and here comes the advertising plug. Darko, are you ready? Are you ready? We have got a webinar series coming at the end of July for you, where we are focusing on infrastructure as code. And if you give me a second, I even have a link for you now. We finally opened up the registration page. There was a little bit of a bottleneck initially. Let me get it for you. I even did a bit.ly link, and I'm quite proud because I got a IAC bit link for it. There we go. So
Ferdinand's comment on clear is this. This is really cool. Alias C equals clear. I agree. Just see this should be definitely a lifesaver for myself, at least, as a person who doesn't know how to type clear.
Cool. Let me send that quickly. There we go. There's the link. I need to quickly open up my door because my little dog has decided she wants to be in the office today. So give me a sec.
Okay. We can always use more guests. So
here we go. Wait, let me just.
Hello there. Nope, she doesn't wanna.
No, she's well. So I'm still busy organizing my office at the moment. It looks a lot better around me. It's one of those fun what do you call it? Studio setup things that you don't see what's going on around me, which is a bit of a mess at the moment because I moved everything around. I've got a pile of things and cables and stuff that I need to sort out. But she did get a upgrade, so her little basket's now behind me. So now she's very keen to be here during the day.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
Very cool. You have a buddy in your streaming room or your office or however you call it.
My coding buddy, when I have questions that I didn't know answers to, so I'll just turn around and ask her, and then she goes like, "Where?" Then I get the answer. Awesome.
Speaking of coding buddies, I've done last week 2 streams on coding, live coding, and it was I do streams like this normally, but usually when I do a stream, it's a 1-hour stream where I prepare to talk about a specific topic. For example, I pick like this Terraform, for example, and I just talk for 1 hour about it. And I kind of have a beginning, and I have an end, and I have basically I have a list of things I want to talk about. But last week I've done a series of streams where I literally went in raw, like literally just said, okay, I want to do this. I have no idea how to do it, and I'm going to stream it. So what I did is I did a stream again on infrastructure as code or CloudFormation specifically, where I decided to you know what, I'm just going to build a CI/CD pipeline. So using all the AWS services such as CodePipeline, CodeBuild, CodeDeploy, and CodeCommit, whatnot. But I'm going to build it all in CloudFormation. I've never done it. And I'm going to do it literally live on stream. So it was 2 streams. One was 2 hours. The other one was 2.5 hours with me literally just coding and commenting on it. Of course, there was interaction from the audience and all that stuff, but it was like me reading documentation. So it's very interesting to do it that way because you get to show people that, well, A, everybody reads the docs. And B, that it's a process. It's an entire thing. Like you get this idea, and to wait to get to it. I mean, I got support from people in the stream where, oh, you're not doing this correctly. You should do it this way. So it's a really cool thing, and I think I had a really nice time. The audience apparently had a nice time on it. So yeah, it should be pretty cool.
I mean, that's definitely something I want us to start doing on this streaming slot as well. So for those joining us for the first time, this is the second only episode of Bean Streaming. And you can blame me for the naming because I like my dad jokes at the moment. I've always liked them. I just have kids now, and I can tell people you can't argue with me anymore. We did a couple of sessions called Streaming on the Rocks, where in the evenings we would sit down with, I normally grab the whiskey, Darko grabbed the G&T, and we would mess around with tech a little bit because we found it's a fun way. Like he said, is you play with the tech, you show each other some stuff, and we find that it's useful. So what we've done now is we've now booked this weekly in this time slot. So if you do want to join us, we will be here every week doing this. And we are going to evolve this into hey, let's sit down and build something together where we go through it, where each of us, the one person does the driving, the other person does the actual helping and thinking about it. But we definitely want to involve the audience a bit more, where we start saying, listen, well, let's build out something that you want on the day. We say we're going to be doing something with, let's say, CloudFormation, Terraform, whatever. We want to build CI/CD pipelines. Today we're going to be doing this. What do you want us to build? Because, for example, I had a request from someone saying they want to move a WordPress site somewhere because their CI/CD service was too expensive. And I'm like, well, let me do that in CodeBuild. And the person's like, okay, cool. Let me give you the details, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, ended off with, how much are you going to charge me to do this? Because I'm happy to pay you. I'm like, you don't have to pay me. I'll do this as an example for you. So those kind of things.
That's very cool. See, that's a very good point. Like, instead of doing just live coding, you can also do live migrations of either actual things, which can potentially be bad, but also you can do fictional things. I think that's a really great thing to show to people. There's like, you get a website or something that's running on a server in your room, and get to migrate it to the cloud in the best way possible. Not just lift and shift, but do more things to it. So I think that's a really interesting, can be a really interesting series of streams to do that. So
well, I think let me put up my hand for my personal blog. I've got it running with a Jekyll server. I haven't touched it for, I think, 2 years. And it's running as a GitHub page. So I've just got the DNS pointing to that. And what I want to do is I actually want to use AWS Amplify to host it. So I think let's do that for next week. We'll grab it and then we can do it.
I did the same for my site. It's horrible. There's nothing on it. But it was literally...
come on.
Yeah, I know. I have...
No. Open up a new tab, please, quickly, Darko. And please note, we did not do this. Cobus.io. This is now hilarious.
No.
So not only do we look the same, we've got the same taste in blogs layout. I've never seen his blog before. This is hilarious. Are you using Jekyll as well?
No, it's Hugo. Actually, it's Hugo. I'm using Hugo in this case, but it's a very similar approach. There we go. Okay.
This is hilarious. We have to change this because we're going to confuse people even more.
Yeah,
we really have the problem for those who wonder that they don't know the difference between Darko and myself. They confuse us.
Yes.
Mine at the top, at least, that Lambda was way back when C# got them, but it wasn't out in Java yet. So I was like, oh, I like Lambdas.
Okay.
Not AWS Lambda. Lambda is in the function, anonymous function type thing.
Yes. I actually figured out that that's a thing. The C# has a thing called Lambda on my last stream because somebody mentioned it. I'm like, oh, Lambdas. No. C# Lambdas. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, not a C# person. But yeah, for example, this is also a website running on Hugo. So technically I could host it anywhere. But I've moved it from an actual server to Amplify with just basically having it Amplify compile it using CodeBuild and put it on an S3 bucket. So pretty neat. And I guess your Jekyll site can do the same thing. Jekyll is basically the same thing. It's a statically compiled website. Yeah. Really cool. Yeah, but now my blog doesn't literally have anything. So I am that person. The only thing you can find here is some slide decks I've used in the past, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm also. It's like I've got this long list of features I want to add to my blog, but it's, as with all things, it's a case of getting enough time to actually.
I think this is my favorite feature of oh yes.
It has a backend.
It has a development branch. So here's the thing. On Amplify, you can actually create feature branches. So you point it to a specific branch of a GitHub repo, and then you can add passwords to it. You can password protect branches. So what I have is my development branch where I basically just changed my Hugo theme to kind of make it look better. And it's this one. So I think
awesome.
It's not done by any means, but you can see that it's a different theme and everything here. So really neat. Yeah, I'm a fan of Amplify. At least Amplify console for me is just a great.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, actually, let me do that. I can show you. Okay, give me a second to figure this out as well. Did you join StreamYard with another session to show your desktop? Because it looks that way.
Just there's a stop screen thing if I remove this.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting experiment. This may not work the way I expect it to, but I am
by the way,
all for...
while you are doing this, there's a question from Ferdinand. Can Terraform Cloud execute the TS files? Terraform Cloud, I believe, cannot execute the TypeScript files.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
The files that are generated by CDK are basically just the Terraform plan files. So you get the thing that needs to be created. So Terraform executes the plan, and that's it. So
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so sorry, just catching up with that. Yes, no, it doesn't. So Terraform Cloud itself executes the Terraform files and your Terraform repos. It's also on a list to play with. I believe you connect your repository to it, and then it is the execution engine. Because at the end of the day, you need some kind of pipeline to run the Terraform commands to store the state file as well, so that it'll store the state file for you, or if you've got a configure to store elsewhere, and then also run the individual plan and apply and branch out and all that. So it's a nice way to do that. So let me quickly see what I have here. Okay, this is going to be not confusing because I can see two of us now. Let's see if I can do share screen. Yeah, share with at least two screens. I want to share that screen share. Okay, I think this is working. Let us see. Add to stream. It's going to be, and then that's.
But why? Oh, you're joining from a different laptop. Ah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now what I want to do is, let's say if I can say share screen, I want to share that one, share that. Oh, Chrome has lost permission. Sorry, this is my setup is still a little bit complex. I know Darko's got something fairly complex as well. I need to
Windows.
Quickly... Oh, ooh. Well, I'm also using Windows.
But I did my demo through Windows. There you go. Windows.
Yes.
Windows.
Yes. So once again, I am going to copy you. Let me just pop that in here. Sorry, so I'm going to... too complex. Sorry, my setup is a little bit complex. Let's get rid of that. Desktop's away. Because I literally just spun up a Yuga site this morning with Amplify as another live demo, and I can actually show you what that looked like, because I think it's definitely worthwhile. 2FA, apologies, it'll take a second. Okay. Go away. Sorry, it's one of those logging in, and voila, I am logged in. Let's get to StreamYard, share screen, Chrome tab. Yes, that one. Here we go. Service. Cool. Can we see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So let's head over to Amplify. And so I built up this little startup Hugo app over here. You cannot. Can you see this tab or not? This new MVP tab? No.
Yeah. No, MVP tab? No, we can only see a
okay.
tab.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me guess. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm not used to Windows keyboard shortcuts. Stop share screen. Let's just the app window. There we go. That looks good. Okay, now we can see both tabs. Awesome. So now you can see over here, so I spun up this site. It doesn't look very pretty because it's literally an empty Hugo theme, but it's running on a custom domain. And to do that, the code is living here publicly on this repo. So I'm going to grab that, and we're going to do this all from scratch. So let's go ahead and say delete app.
By the way, there's a question from Mr. Wayne Gibson. Which operation systems are you using? Well, all of them. So I literally have all of them.
Yeah.
On my company computer, it's a Mac. I have a Windows which are running off right now, and I use Linux as well. So
yeah, so it's literally the same for me as well. I've got my work laptop set up on this side with two screens, mostly working on that. Then this machine is the Windows machine that does the streaming at the moment. It's just a case of where my peripherals are plugged in, because it's one of those running out of USB ports where things to plug in, because I've got an external mic hiding over here. I've got a camera, I've got a webcam, and then keyboard, mouse, YubiKey, lots of things. And then obviously on the actual operating system for the servers is Linux almost all the time.
But I run Linux on desktop as well. So
yeah. I used to do that. I would love to again at some point because there's a lot of fun things you can do with it, but it's once again time factor. I just haven't had time to set that up. To put it in context, I used to run Gentoo when I had way too much time. We actually compile all the projects.
You have kids,
cool.
I have Linux. Right, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, well, I used to have Gentoo, but okay. So let us show how to do that Amplify bit quickly. So we want to spin up a new app. So we go say all apps, connect app. And the first thing it's going to ask you is, where is this app living? So in my case, it's GitHub. And then if you haven't done this before, like I have here, interesting, I need to do OAuth quickly. So give me a second. I'm just going to stop the screen or take it off the stream because I don't want to share the OAuth tokens. Because there's sometimes in the URL, there's some things that you definitely don't want to share. Where's Alt Tab? There we go. Oh, I need a password. Password would be good. And then what it'll do is you don't always need this because it's a public repo, but it wants to connect with a public one or private one. Sorry, password manager. This is all those fun things you see in the background. GitHub. Let's do that. Actually, no, it's that one. Let's paste it in. Okay. And two-factor auth. We are almost in. Give me a second. And 199.474. So as Darko was saying, this is one of those cases where we want to show you all the not so magic parts where we actually do things. So let's do that again. There we go. Cool. Now you can see my GitHub auth is done. And now what I do is I pick a repository. So I go Hugo. You can pick that site. It's going to ask me what branch. I'm going to say main. And this is interesting, this monorepo. I want to dig into this at some point because monorepos are interesting, especially when you've got multiple projects. Let's actually see what it does. Okay. I don't know how that works at the moment yet, so we definitely want to play with that. So here's the fun part of Amplify. So it connected to the repository and figured out that it's a Hugo site. So it immediately gave the build commands and set up the build file here for doing Hugo, figured out what artifacts you want to publish, also if there's any cache that you want to do. And here in advance, you can actually go and use custom build images should you want to add package version overrides and all that. But for today, we're doing it easy. So we can literally say, well, use what you found. And we can say, okay, cool, boom, save and deploy. And this is one of the things that I really love about Amplify is that, so in the background, if you think about, I want to get a static site that's generated up and running. I need to be able to run build commands that actually generate the site for me based on my source code. I need to have webhooks that kick off that build when there's a change to the source code. And then ultimately, once it's actually finished building, it needs to take those static files and put them somewhere so I can access them. So in this case, what it actually does is it puts them on CloudFront, which is our CDN product, distributes them, and then also once it's set up, you can then create a URL for you. It's not a pretty URL the first time around, which you can see over here. It's that main.d1eklu09ap73j.amplify. And as you can see, that's definitely a URL. It's going to take off. I mean, people are going to be able to type this in with muscle memory very quickly. Don't worry. So it sets that up for you directly. Part of this is, if you look at here, it is running on HTTPS, but obviously to be able to do that, it needs to use a domain that AWS can control, which is this amplifyapp.com, and it can create a cert for that. So what this will do is it'll now set up that entire CI/CD pipeline, and actually can click on build over here, click on it. It'll take me to the build job. Let me just see over here. It's busy cloning the repository. It's busy building the front end. Terminating logging. So I think the site should actually be up if I refresh it already. So it's obviously just running through the last few builds there, but we've got the site up and running and deployed. And I mean, that was 30 seconds, maybe. So this is literally how quickly you can get it up. It's now in the verify section. So while this is running, let's go ahead and set up a custom domain, because that's normally the next thing we want to do for a blog. And like I said, I think next week's one where we take my blog is going to be more involved, because I know for a fact that it didn't pick up Jekyll correctly, so I want to dig into the details more. So this is just a nice quick overview for you. So let's go to domain management. We are going to say add a domain. Now I have got a domain that's managed by Amazon Route 53 configured on here with the lovely name buttonmonkey.coza that I've had for a few years. And we're going to use that. And just quickly to show you, let's just jump to Route 53, just to show you that there's no real thing being hidden behind the scenes. Loading, hosted zones, button monkey over here. Let's just take this away for a bit more space. Ooh, this is quite big, but it's, I'm assuming, good so you can see what's going on. So what you can see here for button monkey, there are a couple of configurations over here. The first one over here is a CNAME that points to acmvalidations.aws. So how Amazon or AWS Certificate Manager works is that it uses your DNS. It tells you here's a CNAME record to go create, and then it creates a certificate, and it'll do that after it validates that DNS record is in place. And the reason for this is that when you need an SSL certificate, we need to be sure that you own the actual domain that you're talking about. And the easiest way to do that is to ask you to go create a DNS record for us that we can then validate. So what will happen is with Certificate Manager, when you create a certificate, it'll say, okay, this is the validation record you need to do. And you can either create it manually or click a button to add it into Route 53 if the domain is in Route 53. And then what Amplify does is takes even a step further back. It says, like, what custom domain do you want? It creates that validation record for you. It requests the SSL certificate. Once the SSL certificate is issued, it actually installs it and configures it, and then also goes and changes the DNS to point to that place wherever that app is being hosted or website, and all of that for you. So it uses everything that you would normally under the hood use on AWS, but it just automatically does that for you. So what you can see over here is that it's got that record. There's a second validation record over here because I've been playing with quite a lot of different validations and creating certain things. And then ultimately there will be a CNAME record somewhere here that actually points to this new site. So let's go back here. Configure domain. Similar to what Darko was talking about, the different branches, I've got the apex without the www pointing to the main branch, www also, and tick box to do the redirects from the naked domain, or the apex domain as it's called, to the www version. And like I said, you can easily add more versions over here. So I can point this to, for example, if I had another branch, I could point it to that different branch, but we don't yet. So we go ahead and save. And this is now, those are the steps you need to take to set up a custom domain for it. And now this will chug along in the background. So yeah, so for those not familiar with Amplify, let's have a look here quickly. We've had a couple more people join us. I think just while that is going, just some background what we're going to be doing here with this channel and the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel. So at the moment, Darko and myself each have got a Twitch channel. It is, I will put it on the screen in a little bit, but basically we've got personal Twitch channels that we stream various things on, including this joint channel. So what we did is we set up a YouTube channel called Not Cobus, Not Darko, because it's not confusing at all. And we couldn't come up with another nice catchy name. At least I couldn't yet. And Darko hasn't sent me an appropriate dad joke yet for this. So once we come up with a snappy name, we can. So if you want to, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We will be publishing other shorter video clips there as well, because what we want to do is we want to live stream and play with tech. Learn exactly, and as Darko said, show you how it breaks, how we learn about using it and figuring out. Then we take that and give you the nice, neat packaged version saying, here's a shorter clip of, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes of how to, for example, get Amplify going up and running from scratch to end, although 15 minutes is a bit long. I think we'll need probably like 4 minutes if we just do the happy path. Because the idea is so you can choose between the let's look in detail how they learn and whether we're things that they have to click on and do things, and here's the polished version. So depending on how you want to learn. So we'll publish all of that to YouTube as well.
Correct. Also, one comment on this thing you've just did, Cobus. This is a very key thing that Cobus did here. And what does this mean for everybody? Do not host static websites on web servers. Don't.
Yes.
So why are you doing it?
The reason is that you're going to be paying to run physical compute. So you'll have a container running or physical web server running somewhere, and that thing accrues costs per second for running, because that's literally how compute pricing works everywhere. And because it's static, it means that it doesn't need any processing capabilities. If you think about it, it's not generating pages, it's not pulling data from a database. It is CSS, HTML, and a little bit of JavaScript. Those are all files that you can host anywhere you can literally reach a file, you can host it. So CDNs are perfect for this.
Exactly. So this is a super simple way to do it. First of all, SSL. How much does SSL cost? Right? How much does SSL certificate cost? In the cheapest, you can get like to $50. Even if you go like a wildcard certificate, it's like 100 and some bucks, right? That's also expensive. With Amplify, you get it for free. You'll literally get it for free. The only thing you're paying on Amplify is the hosting, and there are some additional things on top of that, I believe. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, but I mean, that'll be CloudFront distribution costs and all that. And we can actually jump into my billing just now to see if we can even pick it up, because I've been using this demo for quite a while and I've never seen it pop up there, to be honest.
So it's 1 cent per build minute, and it's 0.023, so 0.023 cents per dollars per gigabyte per month, and 15 cents per gigabyte served. That's the price.
So let me just make this a little bit smaller. So what we can see here is, so this is my billing dashboard. Now this is my demo account where I play with for webinars and things, and a lot of interesting things. And I had a question recently, why was June so high? Very simple. I ran a whole bunch of very large database servers to set up migration and set up a data warehouse, etc. So I ran quite a lot of things actually for multiple days. So let's quickly see cost and usage reports. Wait. Sorry, Cost Explorer. That's where I want to go. So let's launch it and have a look at what's going on here, because I'm curious to see what the Amplify costs would have been. So like I said, I probably had an Amplify site running for more than a month now. So we are going to say explore the cost. We're gonna, I got that. Oh, new user experience, awesome. We're gonna look for service. Let's see. No. Can we filter? I should be able to filter by.
You can go on the left side, on the right hand side. You can see service and then include all. You can include. Oh,
here we go. Okay. So this will probably be CloudFront.
There's Amplify. No. It's a specific Amplify cost. It's not
okay,
CloudFront.
Cool.
It should be specific Amplify cost.
Okay, so let's see if we are ready for this. Was I in the? Oh wow! I think I've been in the free tier. Let's check this whole year.
Yeah. So there's a free tier as well. You get like 1,000. You get 1,000 build minutes, and you get 5 gigabytes per month, 15 gigabytes served per month. So.
Yeah. So for those curious, you can go to aws.amazon.com/free, and that'll give you the free tier. And over here, you can actually see what's available. So let's see Amplify. Here we go. We get 1,000 build minutes, 5 gigs per month, and 15 gigs served per month. So, wow, for the first 12 months. So that's actually great, because it means that's why it hasn't been costing me anything. Awesome.
There's a question on stream, Mr. Graham.
Sure.
Graham asks, have you guys delved into QuickSight? Only when we have to.
Actually, it's on my list.
Okay.
It is on my list. Because in multiple previous lives, I have been responsible for reporting. So I've got a very soft spot for how do I make reporting look better and also easier to use. Just as an example here, way back, and this is now, giving away my age, more than a decade ago, built out using a framework, Open Reports. Actually, don't even know if it's still a thing. Let's see. Open Reports. And I customized it because it didn't have the proper drill down capability that we needed back then. So I built up and figured out how I was rendering, and then changed the queries to the text that was going to be displayed was actually the rendering text, and embed that to be able to drill down into it. So it's one of those things that is definitely something we'll look at, and we will play around with QuickSight. Let's have a look. It's still on. It's not being actively developed anymore. It's still on SourceForge. That's a blast from the past. And it was last updated on the 25th of April 2013. So more than 7 years ago.
I would say no, right?
Yeah, I would also not recommend using this framework anymore. But once again, way back in the day, that was actually great to use. Cool. Let me see if our Amplify site is done. Boom.
Well,
Amplify
while you're doing that,
console.
I'm going to answer a question coming from Mr. Wayne Gibson. S3 CloudFront versus Amplify. Pricing wise or everything? So maybe pricing wise, this is slightly cheaper. Depends on how you set up your Amplify thing. But overall, it's much of a bigger hassle to set this up because, in essence, Amplify does the same thing. Amplify deploys your static application to S3 and it uses CDN in front, but it does it very much streamlined, so you don't have to worry about all the things. So as you can see here, Cobus just pointed it to a GitHub repo. Amplify was smart enough to detect that it is actually running a Jekyll website, or I'm not sure which one is it, but it was smart enough to detect a specific static website generator, and it built the entire thing for you and hosted it on S3. So overall, if you're building quick, short, or even just in general purpose websites, if they're going to be mostly static or statically generated, I see no reason why not to use Amplify.
And just quickly on that comment, so what you can see in the background is that it's actually starting to generate the DNS entries for me to point. So it's set up the CloudFront distribution for this. It's sending the files there to the CDN, hooking that up to that's the DNS, I'm assuming. Let's actually see what happens if I hit this. I think that's where the site would be hosted at the moment, if I had to guess. Okay, no, this is the secured version of it on S3, I think. So we'll have to dig into that. But in case, basically, so it does all of that for me, and I didn't have to specify anything. As in, it uses the same tools. It just makes it super easy to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
So unless you have a specific requirement to do it very manually or with your own tool chain, I don't see a reason why not to use Amplify. So ever since Amplify came to be in such a way, I had people ask me, I want to host my site basically generated from Nuxt.js or even Hugo or something like that. Just do Amplify.
Yeah, it's actually, just to echo that quickly, it's one of those typical things that you do when you start a blog. You write about how you started the blog, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what your first one should be. So it's probably further back. Probably first page. Wait, here we go. It'll be on the first page. I can almost guarantee you that. Yeah, you can. It's literally, you can see what things I was working on at the different times.
Basic Jekyll GitHub blog. I see it.
There we go. Boom. Yeah. So what you can see over here is just quickly scanning through it. It was a case of testing locally, setting up the repo, changing DNS to point somewhere, adding content. Now this is a little bit more about all the other bits behind the scene to set them up. So, but still, it's a case of you have to fiddle with DNS, be able to know how to do CNAME records, and this is still without HTTPS. So that's the one part that was bugging me about my blog, given that I haven't blogged for 3 years about that, where, once again, with us, you just a couple of clicks over here, and it's up and running.
Wayne asks another question. Amplify is doing all AWS services used in a single account. So in this use case, I would really like to see your point of view. What would be a multi-account approach to a static website? What elements would you host in different accounts? I don't know. That's something. I don't think. I'm not sure if Amplify supports multi-account per se. At least Amplify console, the way we're doing it right now. But what things, Wayne, would you host in multiple accounts on a simple website like this?
I can maybe start that while he's busy typing out the question for us. Is that what I've seen is that, so yes, this is a static site, but often what happens is you start off with a static site, then you start off with a single page app using Angular or React or one of those frameworks of Vue. Then you start building in functionality, which actually has execution, and behind the execution, you start storing data either in S3 or RDS or DynamoDB, etc. And at that point, you usually start saying, okay, well, I actually want to run this on different accounts because I want isolation between dev and production, for example. Good news there is what will happen there is, instead of like we're doing now is clicking in the console, you'll start going into our favorite topic, which is infrastructure as code, and actually use the Amplify CLI to specify the different environments, because it can handle from that perspective different accounts. And then once you've set it up, you can still come back to the console and see them over here as these individual apps set up in Amplify. But there'll be one in this account, and then there'll be one for, let's say, a production account with different URLs and different domains and things configured.
Correct. But one of the things I see here, maybe potentially, is Route 53 could sit in a different account.
Yeah, well, that's a whole long discussion there in terms of security. So what you should be doing if you want to be, because remember, if somebody takes control of your domain, so at the registrar level, it's very hard to get that back, because once it's been moved, what they tend to do is, typical example is they change the billing details, they change the address of the where it's configured, they change the email address, etc. So there's no way for you, because if let's say I phone up AWS or whoever my registrar is and say, listen, I own Amazon.com, but somebody stole it from me, they're going to go, well, can you confirm some of the details, like what's the billing details, what's the address, what's that? And if I don't have that, they're going to tell me, thank you, but until you have those details, we can't help you. So if I stole a domain, it means that if I don't know those details, I can't get it back. So you want to split your registrar and your actual DNS management. So typically what you recommend to people is saying use one AWS account to do the registration, or be the registrar account where you purchase the domains. And over there you say then go to a second account, set up Route 53, and then from that primary one, just say that's my SOA record. What's SOA again? That's the, give me a second, I never know what this is. DNS record. It's the primary one. We say this is the start of authority record. So what that does is that when you, for example, look at a DNS record like buttonmonkey.co.za, if I type that in and I hit enter, it does a lookup and it goes to the .co.za record. That's the top level registrar. That'll say, well, I've got a start of authority record for buttonmonkey.co.za that points to wherever your registrars is configured. That then is where you have control and say, well, I'm not delegating that to my Route 53 record. And then that's how it passes through all of that. But it starts at the top and then goes all the way down, which is why you want those separate. Because let's say someone then gets hold of my Route 53 records and starts pointing my DNS somewhere else to different IPs. I can still go to my registrar side and say, well, that's not the start of authority anymore. This is a new one that I've set up. And now let's go fix and have it running over there.
So what's your opinion of this? Should you keep your Route 53 in a single account or multiple accounts?
Single account, but separate from where the code is running and also separate from where your registrar is. Yeah, okay. Wayne's comment around Control Tower, yes. Control Tower actually does set that up into multiple different accounts, one of them being your DNS account, one being like your DevOps pipeline, CodeBuild and CodePipeline accounts. Yeah.
On Amplify here, you cannot separate the DevOps start type stuff because it kind of builds into itself. So it's not something you would point it with your own pipelines, because it creates it yourself. It's very opinionated, right? The only thing that you can be a potential problem here is the Route 53 thing. It has to exist within the same account, I believe, as of now, at least for Amplify console. Now, if you go deeper and to do some more Amplify things with the CLI, maybe you can do some things here, but I doubt it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's using CloudFormation, so it has logic to do that, but I'm not sure how native it is, at least from the bat.
Cool. Let me quickly see. I think it's now waiting on DNS, actually.
Yes, it's always DNS.
Yeah, it's in case you're wondering. Just verifying that over here. Another W. Yeah, it's busy. Oh, although it's got a CNAME. Is that the right CloudFront? Give me a second to verify that. Where is my Route 53? It's that D3BH 8UC. I think it should be up in. Okay, no, it's still busy, unfortunately. But I mean, so what will happen now is this is now literally where it's waiting for the DNS update. So the bad news there is I literally did this as a demo this morning where I pointed it somewhere else. So now we're just waiting for DNS to update. But at the end of the day, what will happen is you leave this here for another probably anything between 5 minutes and hours, because that is how DNS works. Yeah, we'll be waiting for it. So Darko, what have you got for us that's interesting?
What do I? Well, I already showed you. I showed you some CDK Terraform thingy. I think that's a very interesting thing to show. But on top of that, actually, this week I also wanna share something which is coming your way. I don't have a link, but this week we're having also a series of webinars that I'm delivering for South Africa or for your region. I'm gonna be talking
Sub-Saharan
about
Africa.
I'm gonna be talking about operations. Operations on AWS or operational things on AWS. So things from how to run operations with Systems Manager on AWS, how to patch your stuff on AWS using again Systems Manager, and last but not least, again with Systems Manager, how to do hybrid operations, because I like to show people that they can actually do stuff on AWS or remotely on hybrid stuff. For example, I will be demoing like how to manage a Raspberry Pi through the cloud, or through basically attach this Raspberry Pi to be as a managed instance on AWS, and do things with it as configure it or access it remotely using Session Manager, etc. So that's gonna be my week. I think I'm very excited for that. I still need to prepare all that stuff.
I'm so excited. So I've been pulling in more of my teammates to help with some webinars in specific sub-Saharan Africa, because I found that trying to record and actually do, I think I did 8 webinars last month, or 10, because obviously it takes a lot of time getting the demos and everything perfectly. So I'm now pulling in different people with different expertise areas as well to help me out with that, because I think that there's quite a lot of interesting content to cover.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of things to cover, and I think hopefully we don't get boring to people with all the stuff we show.
No, I think there's a lot of interesting things. And I mean, remember, the webinars are opt-in. So if it's a topic that you're not interested in, then you just wait for the next one.
Yep, absolutely. That is
Cool.
that's a fair point.
Yeah, just quickly, now that I have it, where was I? I was busy with the banners. I can now add, and this is one of the fun things of StreamYard, is you can add text and overlays and things to the screen. And let's do that. Oh, I need to put an @ there. And scroll up across the bottom, add ticker, and voila. I can actually do this in real time. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, there are our Twitter handle, just to make it easy. I suppose we can paste it in the chat at some point as well. I'm still very self-conscious about doing like this. Hey, please follow me on, and pasting a link.
Smash that like button, follow us, subscribe, buy the merch.
If you found this video useful, yeah. No, definitely. We definitely need to get some. That's one of those things. So it's the amusing part of this role that, so Darko's on my team. He's also a developer advocate. Is that we fall under marketing, even though we all are very, very technical and have technical backgrounds of having built for multiple years. But that does mean that we also do a lot of the marketing, so we have to do the social media stuff. And like I said, I still struggle with it quite hard.
Smash that button. Smash that like button.
Let's have a look. Cross-account DevOps dev set up with CDK would be cool. That would be. With CDK, that's definitely not that hard to do. Because CDK relies on the profile used by your AWS, your AWS CLI access. You can easily build in additional profiles, and with that, you can then run the CDK against different accounts.
You can do it actually quite easily. You can define basically multiple accounts and to which thing to launch in which account. So it's very tight. Like I'll give you an example how relatively easy CDK is. I've spent 2 hours doing CloudFormation with CodePipeline, all that stuff, creating CodePipeline, CodeBuild, CodeCommit, and CodeDeploy through CloudFormation. Took me 2 hours to do it live on stream, reading docs and all that stuff. It took me 7 minutes to do it with CDK. It's much more opinionated. Of course, I had to define much less stuff. A typical example, a VPC. Defining a VPC in CDK is a single line. Defining a VPC in CloudFormation, it's multiple lines. So CDK is definitely a very interesting thing. So after I finish my CloudFormation streaming series, which will finish tomorrow, and I will be doing the same thing, or actually, not the same thing, very similar things with CDK. Again, completely raw, completely just show it on screen. So should be fun.
Yeah, no, it's a definitely a fun one. I see that we are at 12, so I think what we're going to do now, just to wrap things up, is I think drop links to the different, because you've got our Twitter there on screen, maybe just to what else is worth sharing? LinkedIn, YouTube? What do you think will be worthwhile?
I'll do YouTube.
Okay.
Just so I can just show my my things that the stream I mentioned. It's available here. At least part 1 is available here. There. And you should be able to see it there because I have part 1 uploaded. And also, fun fact, I got my first dislike on YouTube. After 32 videos, I got 1 dislike. So.
Oh wow! Did they at least leave a comment about what they disliked?
No, just dislike. Just said, you know what, Darko, you suck. Here's a dislike. You should do better. For what you figure it out. Right? So yeah, apparently I suck.
So there's a little bit of self-promotion. You'll see there's a custom wink wink nudge nudge.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's and you can see there's actually the fun artwork. I went on Fiverr and pinged one of the artists there that I like these examples of doing things, and say, listen, here's 2 pictures. Can you make us some 8-bit art? And yeah, that's what the person came back with. So we're going to be using that. So at least for the joint channel, we've got some awesome artwork. I know Darko has actually got a lot of nice artwork.
Yeah, on my own end. Yeah, but yeah, this is really cool. This is representation of Cobus and myself. I mean,
spot the difference.
Spot the difference, right? Yeah, wait, I agree. It sucks when they don't leave a reason why they disliked it, but it's the internet. So if you're gonna get angry about dislikes on the internet, yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's actually for that long video, so maybe that person didn't like a 2-hour video. I'm not gonna blame that person, but I clearly on the beginning stated this is this is what is about you're gonna watch. This is how it's gonna look. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, fine. I guess that person took it to heart and said, I dislike it. Click.
Yeah, you get that. If there's no reason for it, it's going to be very hard. But I mean, that happens over time, and some people will just not. Yeah, because the problem is you can't associate context even with it, because some people use the dislike button for, hey, this wasn't something I'm interested in, or absolutely, I didn't like your accent or anything. Yeah. Oh, nice comment there. Let's pop it on the screen quickly. Which is the short video. It's actually a very interesting one because we've had a lot of discussions internally, and it's something I'm literally busy recording my first set of 4 or 5 in the next day or 2. I've even got the thumbnail images ready for them. Is literally 5 to like 8-9 minutes. Is like these little snippets of here's one thing and one thing only, just to quickly help you. It's super useful.
Yeah, that's something I've started doing, and actually, it's relatively low effort to do. So for me, it's much more effort to do a stream because you have to sit 1 hour in front of a camera and to talk about some things. But like I pasted now a link to one of the examples that Graham is talking about. I do these things called code shots. So I used to do, like, I would make a screenshot of a piece of code and just, hey, this is really cool, right? But I kind of expanded on that and start doing videos. 7 to 15 minutes is my longest one. It's basically, I explain a piece of code. I do something on CDK or CloudFormation. Well, all of them are CDK so far. And some Lambda functions. So I kind of just do something around it and say, hey, this is really cool. And it's relatively short. And it's much more respectful of your time as my audience than the 2-hour video. But hey, you know what? I'm a fan of 2-hour videos. Like, I have a few YouTubers who do coding. And I literally play them as background noise. So I put their video up while I do my coding, and they code as well. So I don't really pay attention to what they're doing. It's just kind of like the entire thing that person codes, and he talks about his code, and I just do my code. It feels like I miss people, apparently, right? So
yeah, no, definitely. What is the other thing I want to show? Oh, it's I'm still very intrigued by the fact that our blogs look the same, eh?
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, let me grab this here. The next part that now what I want to put on the screen quickly is that's amusing is the fact that we both like our 8-bit things. And just to quickly put it into context, I do think this is where I win though, because that is what my roof looks like.
You win, man. Jesus.
So it's black tiles with red making the outline of it. Unfortunately, with Google Maps, you can't see high definition of enough. I've been trying to find some kind of satellite image with enough of it. But yeah, so 8-bit is...
That's very cool. Space Invader. And did you have to explain to the construction folks how to do it? Or
Well, yes, we literally printed it out with using individual pixel blocks to show them this is where you do the things. And it took them a little bit of a while to figure out and calculate, like obviously with up and down where it should fit.
Of course.
The only thing is that it's actually my wife's idea, this. We only did it once we got to the front of the roof. And the whole, because the side is nice and long. So we could have had like Pac-Man and the whole family over there, but only had the idea too late. So, and trust me, we don't want to replace the roof again.
No, absolutely. Well, maybe one day when I buy a house, I'm currently in the process of thinking about it. But yeah, it would be.
Don't. So much admin. No, I'm joking. No, so it feels like when you don't have a house, you think it's an awesome thing, and when you do have a house, you think no, shouldn't have had a house.
Well, I grew up in a house. Like I used to live in a house where I came from, and ever since 8 years ago, since I moved away from there, I've been renting apartments, and I'm kind of sick of being in an apartment. I want a backyard, so that's the thing. Because I see your barbecues, Cobus. I cannot have a barbecue. So, okay, yeah. Or it's another barbecue, the braai. That's the term.
The braai, yes, it's a braai.
Yeah, it's a braai. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we had a good one yesterday with 3 different types of meat.
I had a vegan lunch yesterday, so
yeah. No, but I mean, I think context also here. So for those not familiar, I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, so we've got a very meat culture over here. We eat a lot of meat. Just because it's not as expensive as it is in Europe. And my friend Darko here comes from Serbia, which also has a similar culture, I believe.
Yes, we eat a lot of meat. I think I have never in my life until I moved away from there had a lunch without meat or a meal without meat, because a meal without meat is it a meal? But yeah, that's a cultural thing. So
it's the same here. I mean, we literally go like, what's the meat? That's the starting point. Like, what meat are we using today? And then what are we going to do with it? It's
there's an interesting thing. Like we are very Serbia is very like, we eat a lot of pork, we eat a lot of beef and all this stuff. And like, I mean, I grew up with raising pigs and slaughtering pigs and all that stuff. But I had a friend, she's from Italy, and she married a guy from a city called Niš in Serbia. And Niš is very specific because it's super famous for being a meat eater's heaven. Like literally, like their barbecue is the most famous. Well, not their barbecue, but one of the things they do is the most famous one in Serbia. And she's vegan, and she married a guy from there and moved there. And she went to this thing. We have a patron saint of the family. It's called the Slava. It's like once a year. It's like a religious holiday, and everybody just goes and eats everything. And she went there and she ate a salad, and people were concerned: is she sick? Is she okay? Like, is she offended by something? People couldn't get the fact that she doesn't eat the meat. So there you go. Sometimes,
yeah.
But it's a cultural thing, and I know that ever since I moved away from there, like I've noticed that people don't eat as much meat as I thought people eat meat. But it's a personal choice, I guess.
Well, and it's like, for example, I know because both my brothers actually live abroad, the one in Amsterdam, the one in Switzerland, and because of the culture there, they specifically in Amsterdam is you don't eat a lot of meat. And the interesting thing is you actually adapt. So we know that when they come back here, even if they want to, they can't eat as much meat anymore because they're not used to digesting it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It changes. I started eating less meats since ever I moved away from Serbia. So it's just a matter of fact. But hey, what can you do, man?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Cool. Yeah, yeah, this was good. Thanks for joining. Like I said, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. We are going to, I think, get it slightly more structured and start building specific things, and we'll start advertising upfront what it is we're building that week. So,
thank you.
Yay, Paul Jam fan. Nice.
I got this one in Seattle.
we will.
So there we go.
Oh, nice. So we will be building out some things in the coming days. We just need to build out that agenda first.
Yes.
Build agenda to build. A little bit meta. But yeah, we will be playing around a lot more, and you will hopefully be seeing a lot more of us if you find this interesting. Also, and here's that social media pitch. If you like this episode or want us to cover any other episodes, I have not rehearsed this yet. Yeah, well, let us know what you want, basically.
Yes.
Pick whatever medium you want. You can easily find us on the internet. So let us know what you want us to help build and focus on next, and we will spend some time on that. And I think just before we go, I do believe that site is done. Let's see. Oh, yes, it is done. And now if I load over here, and voila.
There we go.
And I can prefix it with W. Oh, it's already www, but I can rip out the www and it'll do a redirect for me. Let's actually double check. Just confirming, I rip out the HTTPS portion and it will also redirect me to HTTPS. Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
And now you need someone with more graphic skills than I do to make it pretty. I can do the text side for you. I just can't make it look pretty.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay,
Awesome.
cool.
And with that, thanks. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.